So we have a new update surrounding the situation between Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers, as the director has apparently spoken out on the future between himself and the studio, with filmmakers talking about the way Warner Brothers have treated them during their push for releasing movies at the same time as theatres on HBO Max. This is a big development in what could be a shift away from the studio. I'm going to be addressing these comments by Christopher Nolan and giving you my brief thoughts at the end on this whole situation. But before I get into it, if you want to see more updates and videos on the work of directors like Nolan, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into the newest updates on the Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers situation. So with the latest news today, Christopher Nolan is apparently unlikely to make his next film at Warner Brothers. The director and studio have had a long partnership that dates back nearly 2 decades, with WB handling the domestic or international distribution on all of Nolan's movies since 2002's Insomnia. The relationship has seen a number of successful projects, including all 3 installments of the Dark Knight trilogy and non-franchise hits like Inception, Interstellar and Dunkirk. Nolan's latest effort, Tenet, was initially slated to be WB's major summer tentpole in 2020, before its release was disrupted by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Tenet ultimately premiered exclusively in theatres last September, looking to give exhibitors a much-needed boost in business. Now, although Tenet struggled at the box office, grossing only $57.9 million domestically and $363.1 million worldwide, it did well internationally, and when looking at its overall numbers, they weren't necessarily bad considering the situation that unfolded. Its home video release has since also been the biggest of the year so far, and it will likely gain a slight profit as the year goes on. However, its theatrical release did illustrate the risks of releasing movies during the current time, and this influenced WB's decision to release their entire 2021 slate on HBO Max the same day as theatres. This again caused problems as Warner Brothers didn't contact the filmmakers before making this decision, leading to Nolan and other filmmakers upset about how they were handling things and the business model that they put in place. Nolan, who has long been a champion of the theatrical experience, was very critical of this move, and now it seems like he isn't working with the studio anymore. A new report in the Wall Street Journal, which is a highly credible source, includes a summary of an interview with Nolan stating that he will look elsewhere when he's lining up his next film. After spending years as a top Warner Brothers director, and probably the biggest working in the industry today, Christopher Nolan, who wrote and directed last year's Tenet, said that he is unlikely to return to the studio with his next project, in part because he was disappointed with the studio's hybrid distribution strategy for 2021, according to people familiar with the matter. Warner Brothers have previously said that their controversial plan is for this year only, but it looks like the damage has been done in Nolan's case. It isn't entirely surprising to see him go to a different studio for his next movie, considering his remarks about HBO Max, which he previously called the worst streaming service. It's worth mentioning that Nolan isn't the only talent upset by the studio's drastic move, as James Gunn is reportedly unhappy about the Suicide Squad going to HBO Max, and Dune director Denis Villeneuve also blasted the decision, accusing WB's parent company AT&T of having no love for cinema. Warner Brothers now have to repair relationships, and it will be interesting to see if other directors will follow Nolan's lead. As for Nolan, he likely will not find much trouble finding a distributor for his next movie. He's long been established as one of the few directors in the industry who can draw audiences with just his name. Tenet's box office conversation, which at this point you can argue from both sides, shouldn't count against him given the circumstances of its release. Studios will probably be eager to work with Nolan, and it wouldn't be shocking to see a heated bidding war take place for the director. From the sound of things, a commitment to a traditional theatrical release is a problem for Nolan to do business with a studio. But that ideally won't be an issue by the time his next movie is ready to come out. Nolan works very deliberately, taking time between projects, and his next film realistically won't debut until at least a few years from now, when theatres are hopefully safe again and the pandemic is in the past. I honestly understand why Nolan is likely making this decision. He's shown how much he cares about the industry he works in and the medium he makes films for. When a studio then comes out and completely shakes up the plan without even contacting these filmmakers, it becomes a huge question of ethics. As Nolan has pointed to, it also is an example of a terrible business plan, where moving all of your films to a failing streaming service that only releases in parts of America. Now sure, it's a difficult situation from either side of this debate, but as a director who has shown time and time again that he knows what medium he's making these films for, it comes across as a big kick in the teeth for not just the prime positions of filmmaking like the directors, but also the talent and breadth of people who work on a production behind the scenes. Most importantly though, the fans that have supported filmmaking theatrically and go to the cinema to watch these films in the way they are intended are being given the cheap end of the experience. Cinema has lasted through decades and decades of issues within the industry, and seeing a studio like Warner Brothers, who is supposed to care about filmmakers and the work they make for the big screen, it seems unfortunate that they would want to go through with a crippling plan that doesn't even have the basic ethical support of contacting the people who make these films. I can honestly understand why Nolan is doing this, and it will be interesting to see what studio he considers if he does in fact leave Warner Brothers for his next film. But they were all the latest updates on what has been going on at Warner Brothers, and it looks to be getting heated between the studio and their biggest filmmakers. If Christopher Nolan does choose another studio to make his next film with, then it will be really interesting to see what other directors do in the fallout. Again, I think what the studio did was disrespectful to the filmmakers and the people working on the films, and there could have been more transparency before even considering a decision like they did. Some films are made to be seen on the big screen, and with all the effort and money that goes into them, along with the consistency they can perform with, it would be a disservice to push them aside for a failing streaming service. We've seen that with Wonder Woman 1984 more recently, as the film only released on streaming with HBO Max in North America and hasn't performed very well. But regardless of what I think, let me know down below what your opinion is towards all of this Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan drama, along with what studio you think Nolan will end up working with if his recent comments seem to go through. For more updates and content on the work of directors like Christopher Nolan, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.